Welcome into the summer kickoff edition of The Session with Londa and David. My name is David Austin.
I'm Londa Sherwood Austin. Welcome back, and thanks for being here.
I'm super excited, Londa, because it is summertime.
It's just nearly there, yes.
It's there. This is the summer kickoff. Memorial Day has come and gone.
The unofficial beginning of summer.
When is the official beginning of summer? Is it June something?
21st.
Okay, there you go. The unofficial kickoff of summer has kicked. And we're in it now. I'm super excited about it.
You're always super excited.
I'm wearing shorts today. I thought I'd let everybody know because last week I sprained my ankle.
Yeah.
It's bad. It's not good.
Yeah.
So we've got a jam-packed show. What are we going to talk about today, Londa?
Well, we've got a question from a listener that we got about home inspections. So we're going to dig into that a little bit.
That's exciting.
The what, the why, is it even necessary? We'll get into that.
Okay.
Cost, etc.
Yes.
Why it matters, why it maybe doesn't matter.
Okay.
So we also have a restaurant review no one asked for that we're pretty excited to share.
I'm super stoked about this restaurant review nobody asked for.
I hit it out of the park, and I'm so proud that I
really
did. It was so good. I just am giddy about it. We're also going to talk about, I'm sure, our trip to California.
Sure.
And what we did, and a little bit about how we manage life and business and travel. And because we have, you might look at our lives and think, oh, they're lucky, but we're not lucky. We're very strategic about the way that we live our lives and, living a life by design, if you will. And so talking about that. So you're going to get a whole lot of information today, and hopefully we make you laugh. Sometimes we make you cry. Stick around.
Rarely.
Sometimes
no one
cry.
has said to me, David, I listen
I've had
to
people
your
say
show.
that,
Have you really?
Yeah.
The sad? We've done a few shows that are very emotional.
Yeah.
Like the health episode where we talked about your cancer that you went through.
Mm-hmm.
That was a very emotional episode.
For you, but we've had lots of episodes.
It made me cry a little bit, right?
Yeah. I'll tell you something that just happened that I want to talk about that you will never talk about. And this is just a brag on you that I want to share with our listeners. I just had the privilege of overhearing a conversation that you had with a potential borrower.
Yes.
Right? Someone, a realtor called you, said, hey, this person needs a lender, needs some direction. Will you give them a call? Mm-hmm. And kind of handed it off. You called this person and had a conversation. And I was so incredibly impressed with the conversation. The way that you encourage people that right now clearly are not ready to buy a house.
Right.
Cannot buy a house. Right? Like it's just not there. Right? I want to spend X number of dollars. What can I do with that? You can rent an apartment. That's how I think. And then you're like, well, you speak so generously and so positively, and you really genuinely want to put people on a path to being able to buy a house.
Sure.
Maybe not today, maybe in 6 months, maybe in 12 months, but I am absolutely certain when this person hung up the phone, they felt excited about their future, motivated to put some things into action, and encouraged that they could actually do it. And I think that's I know it's unique in the marketplace for a lender to take the time. First of all, you were on the phone a good 20 minutes.
Sure.
And to take that time for someone who's not going to buy today.
Well, yes. And I just think that I want everybody, I believe in home ownership. I believe in the dream and the wealth building power of home ownership in America. That's my core belief, right? And I also believe in kindness. That is my core belief as well. So if someone can't buy right now, right, I want to talk to them about how they can in the future, not why they can't right now.
Right.
So that's just the language I use.
Right.
And it's because I would want someone to tell me how to do it if I didn't know how to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And for me, closing the loan, while that is the end result of any transaction, getting someone to the point where they can close a loan and helping them get over that hurdle is more important to me than the close.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I just talked to the client about how to get there and found out some stuff about, credit history and income and assets in an effort to be able to put them on a path to be able to succeed. And I think that's way more powerful than saying, hey, you're not ready to buy. Call me when you are.
And a lot of people do that.
Yeah, I can't imagine it. That's
You're not
crazy
that
to
guy.
me. No.
Yeah. So I would say if you're someone who's listening to this and you are a person who feels like I probably am never going to be able to buy a house, or you know someone who feels like I'm probably never going to be able to buy a house, this is for you. David Austin is for you. I'm just telling you that is the path that you want to be on. And so don't hesitate to reach out. You're not going to feel shamed. You won't feel embarrassed. You won't feel depressed and down when you hang up the phone. You're actually going to feel exactly the opposite of all of those things. You're going to feel encouraged and excited, and you're going to have a plan, and you're going to know exactly what you need to do to succeed.
Sure.
And you do it with such kindness and care in your voice. I just think it's a lovely thing, and people should know about that.
Well, I appreciate that. And my ultimate goal is to help them buy. Just because now's not the time doesn't mean I don't want to help them buy.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
so
let's get
love
off that.
We're on it. I don't know what you want. We're on it. We did it. I said it.
Okay,
It's
I appreciate
out there.
it. So here's what I want to talk about. We had a very good private conversation this morning in our home, which is our daily sales meeting, about what our goals are. And I think it's interesting to talk about how goal setting can be constructive and destructive.
Right.
I don't ever think of goal setting as destructive, but you explained to me how goal setting needs to be specific to each person, or it can be demotivating, not motivating. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Because I thought it was a fascinating conversation.
Absolutely. Your personality, the way your brain is wired, your learning style, your Enneagram, your emotional capacity, emotional quotient, all of those things play into the way that you are motivated.
Sure.
Okay. And goals are meant to motivate, right?
Right.
So all of that, if you're, what do I want to say here? If you are wanting to set goals, either call someone like me who knows how to tailor that activity to all those things I just mentioned and can help you get there, or keep trying different ways of goal setting until you find the one that works for you. What happens is people, they try a way of goal setting and it doesn't work for them. For example, SMART goals, right? You've heard that acronym?
I've never heard that.
Really?
Yeah, tell me about SMART goals.
Well, they need to every letter stands for something, and I can't remember exactly what they are, but
Okay.
But it's an acronym.
Like
where,
the T might be time, and the A might be acquisitions, and the M might be mobility. I don't know, but it's like that.
I don't know, but we have Google right here. I can pull it up.
There you go. You can just go right there and add a window and Smart goals. Smart goals. Different than a smart car. Framework for setting and achieving objectives by
specific,
making them specific,
measurable, achievable, relevant, time-bound.
I was right with one of them.
And the reason that I don't know them by heart is because I'm not going to use that technique with someone unless I feel like that technique will work for them.
I gotcha.
So another way to set goals is like to reverse engineer.
That's how I do it.
Right.
That's exactly what I do.
And explain to us what that means.
Well, you figure out how much it costs to be you. And anybody
this is how you do it.
Anybody who I've worked with in the mortgage industry or radio sales in the last 25 years knows my system. And I learned it from Malcolm Adams. And what that means is you take how much it costs to be you on the first of the month and you reverse engineer your activity back to making that plus some, right? So for instance, for me, it costs me roughly in hard expense, because we don't really have debt, about $3,000 or $4,000 a month on the first of the month to be David Austin. That's what it costs. Some people may say, well, I've got a $4,000 a month
okay, but
mortgage.
Let's just use it. This will be easier.
Yeah,
let's just say it costs $10,000.
Oh, that's fine. That's not my number, but that's fine. Say it costs $10,000 to be me. Well, I know that I need to then calculate how much activity I need to do to be able to produce $10,000 a month.
And let's say you have to close 3 deals a month. And in order to close 3 deals a month, you need to have 5 in the pipeline. And in order to have 5 in the pipeline, you need to talk to 12 people. And in order to talk to 12 people, see how you reverse engineer
That's
it.
Exactly
and now
right.
You can break it down into what do I need to accomplish every day or week to be able to put myself in front of that number of people to be able to close that many deals so that I can bring home this much pay. That's
right.
Reverse engineering.
And the reason first-year salespeople have an outrageous amount of activity is because they don't have any benchmarks to go with. So they just might have 30 business conversations per day.
Right.
Right? And then they're making more money than they've ever made.
Right.
Well, then we can know how you can reverse engineer your life because you now have some benchmarks, right? Yeah. If you have 30 business conversations per day and you get 3 good leads a day that turn into 1 deal, then you know exactly what you need to do.
Right.
That's kind of how I reverse engineer my goals.
Another way that someone might set goals is you can set goals based on your lifestyle that you have versus lifestyle that you want.
Right.
You can base goals on all kinds of material things, cars, houses, trips, those kind of things.
Sure.
You can base goals on a number, an income number. You can base them on the way that you want to spend your time, right? There's all different kinds of ways.
Sure.
And then the way that you track it also depends on all those things I mentioned before: your personality, your learning style, your Enneagram, the way you process information, your childhood trauma, like your EQ, all that matters. And so I know several people who, let's say their goal is to close 80 units of whatever they sell, cars, houses, whatever, in a year.
Yes.
So they will make a board with 80 blocks on it.
Okay.
Numbers on every one of those. And every time they close a deal, they fill in one of the blocks.
Okay.
Right. So they've got this poster board. Okay. That does not work for me.
Okay.
I'd rather slit my throat and call it a day. Like, there's just no way, because immediately when I look, and this is just the way my brain's wired, when I look at that, I see all that I haven't done. I have all that to do.
Okay.
All that I haven't done.
So that's self-defeating.
So that is not motivating to me at all.
Okay.
I'll tell you what is motivating to me is something that we have up in our office right now, and I can look at it from here, which is photos of the houses and the people that we have closed transactions with so far this year
Right.
in the real estate business. There's
Right.
a big 2025. Think about the, oh my God, this might be where it came from. Think about, did you ever do when you were in grade school, the book Caterpillar?
Nope.
We did. Some of you know what I'm talking about, and I just realized.
Why you hate the blocks? Because you can
No.
see. No.
I just realized
section.
why I might have been kind of hardwired as a child to be motivated this way. Or maybe it just played into my natural tendency, and that's why I liked it then. Okay. It's a caterpillar. You know, caterpillars have sections.
Yeah, segments.
Okay, segments,
Yeah.
yes. So it was, our teacher did this one year. You know, a little caterpillar face, little caterpillar antenna. You like the name, our name went on the first segment of the caterpillar.
Okay.
Every book you finished that year,
You add a segment.
added a segment with the title of the book.
Okay.
And so we built these caterpillars all year long on the wall in the classroom, every student. And that was very motivating for me to see that caterpillar grow.
It came to life. What would have been the same experiment but wouldn't have worked for you is if she drew out an entire caterpillar and you color in each segment as you go.
Right.
Because then you'd have seen how much you didn't have
Right.
done.
Right.
So it's simple.
Right.
It's the same. It's just engineered for your brain differently.
Exactly.
We are adding to something.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
So I would say to anybody who has, let's just call it this, failed at goal setting.
Okay.
Because I felt like for years I failed at goal setting until I coached enough people that I realized, okay, wait, everybody's brain is just different. I didn't fail at anything.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of a cathartic moment, by the way, for me to say that out loud. But anyway, so
By the way, if you're just listening in, this is what our conversations at home sound exactly like. Okay, go. Keep going.
So anyway, for me to see it up on the wall, like these are all the people that we have gotten into homes this year, and these are the homes that we got them into, and I can imagine like maybe we'll fill that whole space, and how cool will that be, right?
Yeah.
And what a celebration that will be. And I love it because anybody who comes into my office, sometimes people will notice it and they'll ask me about it, and I'll go, oh, let me tell you about these people.
Right.
You know, and let me tell you what their circumstance was and how we were able to help, you know?
Sure.
And so I think, yeah, like I said, just I'm really motivated by helping people. That's the truth. I'm really motivated by making money as well, which tend to be conflicting values, by the way, because they're opposite personalities, but nature versus nurture, right?
Sure.
And so like last night, I got a text from a client that said, thank you so much for your help. I don't know what we'd do without you.
Right.
We're in the middle of a transaction with them, and there have been a few things that have gone very sideways, and I've just said to them every time, like, let me roll up my sleeves and see what I can do.
Sure.
You know, I don't make any promises. I just let them know I'm going to go to work for them.
Yep.
And we've been able to work everything out. And so I think that text from that person, it makes me feel good because I've helped them. And does it touch a little bit on maybe a little savior complex in me? Yeah, it does.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what? That works well for my clients because excuse me, when something goes sideways for them, man, I put on the cape. In fact, on my dry erase board over there, it says the cape never comes off.
Right.
And so, you know, I love being the hero. I just
Superhero
do.
24/7.
Man, I just do. And that's just how my brain is wired. I love being the hero. And did it come from trauma? Yeah, it's because I was, you know, responsible for my mom's feelings. And so I had to make her feel good. And I felt like stick with me. This is important.
I'm listening.
When I felt like I made her feel good, I felt like I won. And, you know, I always say you can take your traumas and use them as a launching pad for an incredible life. And this is one way that I've been able to do it.
Okay. I like that. I like that.
Yeah.
And this all started from just goal setting, right?
Yeah.
So for me, because I'm not at all motivated by money, I do reverse engineer what I need to make. And then from there, everything I do is charitable output. Mm-hmm. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
And so if I make more money, that's great. But if I help more people, I'm not stressed about money. And I can help as many people as possible.
I think you're super motivated by collecting friendships.
That's correct. I like to grow my sphere of influence because the bigger my sphere, the more I can help people. And here's what I mean by that. You know, when kids that are in our family come to me and say, hey, I need some help, I might know someone who can help them.
We almost always
You know
do,
what I
yeah.
mean? And I love that. And it's because my sphere has gotten so large over the years, and I want it to continue.
Right.
The larger my sphere, the more I can help. The more I can help myself, the more I can help my community, the more I can help my sphere. I love that. I love that. And that is where value comes from to me.
And this is the value that we pass on to clients. In case you're listening and you have a need related to housing, call us. We know everybody. Like, we've always got a guy. Here's how it works. You and I both have big spheres, right? Here's how it works. Yesterday, a client called or she texted me and she said, hey, I need a drywall guy.
Right.
And I was like, okay, here's one. And she said, okay, I called and left a message. I said, you might text as a follow-up because, contractors. And so, they're not known for communication, David. It's just true.
That's fine.
So anyway, a couple hours later, she hadn't heard back yet. I said, hey, and then I asked you, who do you know? Right. And you gave me a name and a phone number. And I said, hey, also try this one. And I'm not promising anything, but this person might move you to the front of the line if you drop David Austin's name.
Right.
So she immediately called and just from the jump, hey, I got your number from Londa. She said you'd move me to the front of the line if I mentioned David Austin's name. Now, but here's what happened. He chuckled and said, I'll be there tomorrow.
Right.
What time's good for you tomorrow?
Right.
And so it doesn't always work that way.
Sure.
But it often works that way. So if you have a housing problem, your hot water heater needs replaced.
Right.
You need a drywall guy. You need a landscaper.
Sure.
You need, whatever. We got a guy who can probably get to you pretty quickly. And we always want to hear the feedback if they don't get back to you because they come off the list and I replace them with somebody else,
That's right.
So these are all people on our list are usually people we've used personally and professionally, that kind of thing. So, I don't know, man. I think we both really like to be the hero in a lot of ways, and it works for our clients.
Right. That's the thing, right?
Yeah.
I have always said, and all the lender buddies that I've had over the last 21, 22 years of doing this have heard me say, I'm a force of nature.
Right.
I make things happen.
For sure.
And I believe that.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, if you believe that about your life, things will happen. If you look for the good, you find the good.
Which
and
brings
if you
me,
look for the bad, boy, howdy, you're going to find the bad. So stop looking for the bad.
Which brings me to my book recommendation.
Okay.
So it's no secret, I love Mel Robbins.
Right.
There's a whole movement on TikTok. The Gen Z kids think she's cringy. That's fine. You are free to think whatever you want about her. I would say to you, listen to her podcast, read a book or two, and then make a decision. Here's what's going to happen. If you listen to the podcast, you read a book or two, you're going to change your life probably because you can't when you listen to it. She's a devout researcher.
Right.
And that's really what everything that she writes about, everything she talks about is just what happens is she finds a solution to life. She gets very much down in the depths, in the dredges of life. Things go wrong, things fall apart. And then all of a sudden she finds this solution that got her out of it, that she starts researching it to death. And often for the books that she's written finds, holy shit, there's all this science about why this worked.
Right.
So then she researches, book. So the latest book, the one that I'm reading right now, is called Let Them. And it's the Let Them theory, right?
Let Them by Mel Robbins.
Yes. So, people leave you out of a weekend away that you think you should have been part of, and you see pictures online that they posted and your friends all went away, but they didn't invite you. Let them. Right? This is the idea of the let them. And it's different than letting go. And she talks about that in the book. But the part that I'm most fascinated about is not the let them, because I'm good at let them. I don't care. which isn't. She talks you through those little emotions too.
My book would be called Suck It.
Yeah, no. The part of the book that I find fascinating is the second half of this. The first half is let them. The second half is let me. And this is the part of it where you take responsibility for your reactions, for your feelings, for your actions. If your friends went somewhere and they didn't invite you, well, let me then put together a night out and invite the people that I want to be there.
And this is chapter 2 of Suck It. I'm going to go have fun without you.
No.
Suck it.
You're not understanding if that's what you're getting from this. Is that what you got from it?
That's what I got from that. What
No. It's not have fun without you. It's if these 3 people went on let's say I have 3 girlfriends,
right,
and they went on a weekend away without me and didn't invite me. Okay, if those relationships are important to me, then why don't I plan a girls' night and invite them? Those same 3 people. What am I doing to foster those relationships?
I gotcha.
What if it's so important to me
Sure.
to go on a family trip with my brothers and their kids and our aunt and uncle, then I should plan that instead of being crushed to the depths that they went without me.
Right.
You see?
Yes.
So there's the let them piece of it, but then there's the let me. And I love that where she's like, let me hold your hand while I walk you through how to take personal responsibility for these things. And
I gotcha.
not be a victim, basically.
That is pretty related to how some people say relationships need to be 50-50, and I heard another person talk about, no, relationships need to be 100-100.
Right.
Because if you're not giving the relationship your all, you can't expect someone else to do that too. So maybe in this let them scenario, they know you don't like to camp and eat mushrooms. So they're going to camp and eat mushrooms.
That actually happens.
And then your feelings are hurt because they're camping and eating mushrooms.
That actually exact scenario happened to us. We have friends who, close friends to us, and then they have this like other group of friends they go camping with all the time.
Right.
And I actually said, like, why didn't you invite us?
Right.
Like, I just asked, why didn't you invite us? And they were like, you don't like to camp.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
That's right. So
good point. So anyway, that's the book
so maybe their effort was in considering your feelings.
Right.
They didn't even think to ask you because they know for sure you're going to say, oh, no.
So just to recap, my book recommendation this week is Let Them by Mel Robbins. I think you'll be surprised what you get out of it. I know I've been surprised so far. I'm only on chapter 3.
Okay.
But, I listen to her podcast pretty consistently. But
and you don't need to look in bookstores for Suck It by David Austin.
No, please don't. Please don't. Okay, would you rather do the restaurant review or answer our the question that we received?
Well, I am going to do the restaurant review nobody asked for because I asked for it.
Go for it.
The restaurant review nobody asked for is part of our trip that we took to San Francisco. And when we're in San Francisco, we always travel from San Francisco to Modesto to see one of the kids. So on our trip from the airport in San Francisco down to Modesto, you looked online for a place to buy food. And you found a place in Castro Valley, California called the Southern Comfort Kitchen.
Yep.
And the Southern Comfort Kitchen, just so you know, is fast casual Cajun and Creole inspired food. If you want the taste of New Orleans, Southern Comfort Kitchen is the place for you. Now, I'm not going to go crazy and talk about all the different things on the menu. I'm just going to briefly tell you the story about us going into this place.
All right.
So we walk in.
I've never been more proud I mean, I put the cape on that day.
You did.
Let me tell you.
You did. We walk into this restaurant that you recommended that we didn't know anything about other than you saw it had good online reviews. And so we walk in, and the owner is behind the counter, and the first thing this guy says is, "Hey, how y'all doing? I'll be right with you." Just like that. And I thought, oh, this must be a Cajun and Louisiana-themed place. I didn't know that when you said Southern Comfort Kitchen. I just guessed it when I heard his voice. And then I looked around the place and saw all the fleur-de-lis on the wall and knew that you found something that was going to make me feel like I was at home in Louisiana. And we start talking to the owner, and he's ringing us up because it's fast casual. It's quick. And
it's crazy, you guys. I've never seen that type of food done that well.
Quickly.
And certainly not quickly.
Sure.
Crazy.
And it's not a thing that happens. You know,
No.
You may have somebody that makes po' boys and they do that quickly, but that's what they do.
Right.
You may have a sit-down restaurant that makes a gumbo and that's just on the menu.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's very rare that you walk into a restaurant and they've got 4 or 5 guys cooking right there on a line in front of you.
Yeah.
And they've got everything from po' boys to
crawfish etouffee.
Absolutely.
To gumbo to mac and cheese.
So we're talking to the owner. We find out
And we had it all.
We find out
so
it's
good.
he and his 2 brothers, and there are 3 locations. Each one runs a location.
Mm-hmm.
And what a super, super nice guy. And it took him about 15 seconds to ask us where we were from and get our whole life story. And when he realized we were Louisiana people, then he starts telling us, you know, I was born in Mandeville and blah, 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 blah. So now he's speaking my language.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, I've got your order. Now, go sit down. But before you do, let's all have a beer. I want to toast you guys. So he pulls 3 Abitas out of the fridge, which is a Louisiana-based brewery.
Uh-huh.
He opens his, he opens ours. We all toast. He takes a tiny micro sip, sets his on the counter.
We're right
and
back
we
to
take
work.
ours to the table, right?
And he went right back to work.
Absolutely, like nothing.
I
Just-
don't think he ever touched it again.
I don't
It was
think he
hilarious.
did either, but he wanted us to feel at home. And the thing that I want to touch on
Yeah.
is how he so wanted us to feel at home.
Right.
When our order was ready, I went to pick it up and he goes, "Hey, David, wait right there. I've got more for you. We're not done with what you ordered." And he gave us for free so we could try it, shrimp and grits. I ordered a side of etouffee. He gave us a gumbo as well. He gave us Brussels sprouts, which is on their appetizer, blackened Brussels sprouts. And I got to tell you, it was not only the most food I've ever gotten at a fast casual restaurant,
Yeah.
it was the best food I've ever gotten at a
10 out of
fast
10.
casual restaurant.
10 out of 10. The flavors were incredible. I think we only ate about 1/3
Oh, yeah. Because
of
he
the food.
we
was
wanted to
crazy.
taste everything.
Yeah, it was crazy. And
And-
then when we were on our way out the door,
Well, before we went out the
sorry.
door, I felt so involved by the way he was talking to us and making us feel like we were part of the family that I started saying goodbye to customers when they left like I was hosting the night. It was crazy.
Yeah.
It was like my birthday party. It was like you hosted my birthday party at this restaurant we'd never been in. And I got to tell you, every single time I go to Modesto, California from San Francisco, I'm stopping, I'm saying hello, and I'm getting a meal at the Southern Comfort Kitchen. It is the best experience I've ever had at a food place. And I'm a little emotional.
wow, well, yeah, because it's tied to your childhood and home. And that is how you do a restaurant. We had someone recently ask us, so what's a secret formula for restaurants? You know, there's got to be like a formula, right? And you got to calculate for spoilage and you got to do this, but what makes it successful? That
Yeah.
what we just described. You cannot replace passion. You have
Right.
to have somebody who is passionate to the core of who they are about the food and the people.
Right.
And you can't have one without the other. You got to be passionate about both. I have
Right.
goosebumps right now because I am one of those people. I've never had the opportunity to have my own restaurant. I have run a lot of restaurants. I grew up in restaurants. I thought I was going to be taking over my dad's restaurants.
Right.
My dad lost the restaurants. because Hums was naughty, made some bad choices. But anyway, but it is deep in my blood, which is why when I talk about restaurants, I get so passionate. You have to have that kind of passion. That's what makes it.
Yes.
And while we were there, they not only were slammed in the restaurant, but they were slammed with go orders. People came in the door consistently picking up orders to go. And I'm just really happy for them. I'm glad that we were able to have that experience. I'm glad that I shared that experience with you. I'm so grateful to Southern Comfort Kitchen in Castro Valley, Pleasant Hill, California, and Alameda, California. So go visit them.
Unbelievable food, unbelievable service. And it's true. If you love what you do and have passion for what you do, everybody can tell.
Yesterday, my client who needed me to, roll up my sleeves and go to work for them and see if I could figure out this big problem. They said, I'm so sorry, right? They always apologize. I said, this is what gets me out of bed in the morning.
Right.
This is what gets me out of bed.
Right.
This right here.
Yeah.
Like, this is my favorite part of what we do.
It's just like a realtor who over the Memorial Day weekend sent me a lead and asked me to call a potential client, apologizing to me for bothering me during a holiday weekend. My response was, I will never be angry that you are trying to grow the bottom line. I'm always available for you.
No days off. No days off. Someone asked me recently how we balance travel and work. And I said at the top of the show, we were going to talk about this. And here we are. This is a perfect segue.
Yes.
So we don't, I don't know that we balance it, but here's what we do. When we're away, when we're traveling, we always work.
That's correct.
We take phone calls.
Yep.
We make appointments.
Yep.
We strategize with our team.
Sure do.
We, every morning, I'm usually sitting in front of my computer for at least a couple of hours.
Sure.
Right? And I'm getting everything, streamlined and straight there. And so I think we just choose to make work a part of life and life a part of work. And there really are no hard lines for us. It's all really, what's the word I'm looking for? It's all melded.
It's interwoven.
Yeah, it's just...
It's like the Triscuit of life. It's interwoven. I'm doing that with my hands, like a Triscuit woven, like a little basket.
That was good. Good. It's the Triscuit of life.
It is.
So I would say figure out what you want to do and figure out how to integrate your life to it.
And if you're all hung up on the term work-life balance and you don't want your work to encroach on your private time, you need to find a job you like. Your life sucks. Get over that.
Ooh.
Find something else. If you think, I don't want somebody calling me during my off hours, you have a terrible job.
Maybe. Don't tune out yet. Stick with me. I'm going to make it better. Maybe not. It's okay to have a job that you clock in, do the work, clock out, and now it's a different time.
Sure.
And you don't want to be bothered at home, and that's why you have a job where you clock in and clock out.
That's exactly right. But then don't look at me and then be jealous about how I'm living my lifestyle. Because I never shut off. I never clock out.
Right.
If my phone rings at 10 o'clock at night on a Sunday and I'm awake, I pick it up.
Yeah.
That's just the way it works. I never clock out. So what I mean to say is, if you don't want your life to be part of what you do, then do something.
Yeah.
And don't. I don't know what I can't relate to that. So it's hard for me to discuss that, right?
Because we weren't born with the clock in, clock out gene.
Well, I was born with the always be helpful gene, and I can't clock out of being helpful, so I might as well monetize it.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there you go.
So we got a question, and the question is this. I have to read it. Why does a home inspection matter? Great question that we got.
Sure.
From Reddit, actually. And why does a home inspection matter from a real estate point of view, from a lender point of view?
From an investor point of view is even more powerful, I think.
Sure. And my short answer is maybe it doesn't.
Well, here's the thing.
I'll expand.
Yeah.
But that's my short answer.
Have you ever watched a show on HGTV that's about flipping houses and seen how they get into the project and now they're going to be over budget by $100,000 because they had no idea that there was so much
moisture behind the wall in the kitchen.
Moisture behind the wall in the kitchen, right? That's why an inspection matters.
Sure.
Because no matter what you're doing, if you don't have a clear picture of what there is now, you can't have a clear picture of where you're going to go.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yep.
So if you're flipping a house, you need to know if all the support under the floor is rotten, because that's got to be budgeted in.
It's costly, yeah.
Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So to me, home inspections are super important if you want to know what your expense is going to be on a home.
Mm-hmm.
On the flip side, having a good understanding of what to look for in a home inspection is super good too, because you can decide to not have a home inspection and gamble a little if you want to win the home. So if you're in a competitive situation, a buying situation.
Yeah, you might waive the inspection.
Right. And just know that, well, it's a little bit of a gamble, but this, and this.
Right. Now, we always recommend a home inspection because you want to know what you're getting into. There's a few reasons. Now, I'll just speak from the reality, right?
Sure.
One reason is you may find some kind of problem or system failure or something that causes you to want to terminate the transaction, and
right.
You can do that on a home inspection contingency. Thank you. So that's one reason.
Yes.
Okay. Another reason is you may find repairs that need to be done or modifications that need to be made that you feel like you want to ask the seller to do. And then you may negotiate those back and forth with the seller, and they, there's lots of different ways to negotiate that, but that may be something, okay? The third reason, and I feel like the most important reason for a home inspection, is to learn about the home. If you have a great inspector, and you're able to be at the inspection, I always recommend it because you will learn so much about your home that you're about to purchase.
Sure.
They'll tell you everything you want to. They will be as, why am I losing words? As
forthright?
No, with you. As
forthright. They'll tell you everything you want to know.
Looking for as
open?
No, gosh, I hate menopause. Anyway, as communicative with you as you want them to be. So they will either go about their business quietly and not really talk with you at all if that's what you want, or they will be actively engaged. Thank you. Actively engaged with you. Engaged is the word I was looking for.
I got you.
I know the word. Gone. Whoop. Listen, if there's a woman in your life and you love her and it's your mom or your sister or your cousin or your aunt or your friend, and she suddenly can't remember words, it's perimenopause or menopause. Let me just tell you right now. So they'll be as engaged with you as you want them to be, right?
Sure.
And you can learn a ton about the house you're about to buy. We had a client recently who bought a house, never bought a house before, and was buying a $600,000 house.
Mm-hmm.
It was a big house. Single person who has never owned a home before. And that inspection took 3.5 hours
right.
because she had so many questions, and she exactly got the right inspector because he was thrilled to teach her about her house. She now knows how to care for everything in her house.
Right.
The other thing a home inspection can do for you is it can leave you with kind of a punch list of maintenance to do after the home is yours.
Yes.
So those are some reasons to have a home inspection. I think they do matter. I think they are important. Have I waived home inspection on a home I've purchased? Yes, I have.
And home inspections, FYI, are different than a home appraisal.
Yeah.
An appraisal has an inspection. That's an appraisal inspection. What an appraisal does is it tells you what the value of the house is. It protects the bank if you're going to get a securitized loan, so the bank doesn't loan you more money than it's worth.
Right. And I would say this, if you you're working with a realtor that's not us, and they
Shame on you.
refer you to an inspector, I want you to ask them if they've used the inspector personally when they purchased a home.
Oh, that's great.
Because that makes a difference.
It does make a difference.
I've used we usually recommend 2. I've used both of them on my personal homes. And so recommending them personally and professionally is important. Because it matters. It matters. I'll leave it out at that. I don't want to, I'm on the verge of talking trash about somebody, but I'm going to let it go.
Okay, that's good. Let them. Let them. Or suck it. Either one.
I hope that you learned something today. I hope we made you laugh a little bit. And I hope that you'll be back with us next week.
And don't forget, if you are ever in California between San Francisco,
anywhere near Castro
and
Valley,
Modesto, you need to pull off the road and go to the Southern Comfort Kitchen.
Absolutely.
They are going to treat you right and make you feel like $1 million, make you feel like it's your birthday. I don't know how much actual food we got out of that place.
I don't know.
But I paid for 1/3 of it.
If you want to know if you can buy or sell a home this year, you want to know if it's possible, you want to know what the process is, you want some help from David, you want to find out a little bit more about who we are and what we do, SherwoodAustin.com.
SherwoodAustin.com for all of your home buying and lending needs. Again, SherwoodAustin.com. We'll see you next week.